every one of you. I will have empty tables at the front. Don't be shy. It helps when we speak to people, not tables. Please, back rows, come forward. Yeah, my man. Okay. Cool. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here, choosing us instead of changing your tires or finishing up your winter things to end the year. We really appreciate it. Welcome to the product meetup number 12. Let's have a round of applause. Today we have two fantastic speakers, Sigita and Pēteris. So really excited to hear what they say. I really like the stories of, real life stories of how to do and how to not to do. And AI is a hyped theme, so let's hear what Pēteris has to say. Also, huge thanks for TestDevLab for giving us a venue, giving some snacks, organizing this. And also, this is their new office, so there will be a possibility to join for the guided tour, so we can see how these guys are working, what they do. So yeah, don't miss out. It will be on our first break. But yeah, let's go forward. Why we are doing this? Basically, we want to have a community that talks, that we can whine about, that we can say, hey, I have this problem, and somebody who actually can solve it. So this is why we created this event, and hopefully that, yes, actually it becomes bigger and bigger every time. So yeah, hopefully one day there will be a huge venue with hundreds of people. Yes, so Cheetah Labs, basically what we do. First of all, our design broke. Nice to know. But yeah, basically we do mobile apps and design. We promise we do it better. But yeah, we do it for 8 years. We did around 80 different apps. So if you need something apps related, please come to us. We will help. We still are looking for a sales manager and junior mobile developer. If that's applicable to you, please scan the code and let's chat. Yes, a bit of advertisement. Basically, we did a research of 4,000 different fintech apps in the Baltics and Scandinavia region, all over Europe. We compared, it's like 67 slides with all kinds of different statistics about the colors, how it's impacted the features, how it affects the ratings. So a lot of interesting stuff. Please scan the QR code and we will send it to you. No problem. Also, if you want to compare your app or you want to learn more, write us up and we will we would be happy to explain how we came with these numbers, but all the research is there, so you can go to Google Looker, you can see all the data, statistics, what we did. So if we have mistakes, you can find it there. And yeah, basically everything is there. Yeah, I'm wrapping up. Now let's welcome to the stage Sigita with her presentation about building a financial institution. What? Yeah.
Okay, and it's working, yes. Yes. Hey, hey. Happy to be here. Happy that you are here. I will fight my urge to speak fast because you all are standing. So I have this feeling that you are waiting. But I will assume that those are like just standing ovations maybe. So let's proceed. Yeah, so hey, from what I have seen in these presentations, one slide should be about me and my career so far. So you should read from bottom to top. Otherwise, it will be very interesting story, and maybe I will not be here, or maybe it will be even more interesting story if I will end up as a telemarketing. No, I started as a telemarketing in bank. Why so? Because the money came from bank at that point. That was all that I need to know, and built my career very gradually up from that point. And during the presentation and during maybe what I want to share with you, my career also shows one of my virtues. So big goals, small steps. So you set high goals, but you are moving with small and very purpose steps towards that. I have been working in TestDevLab Bank, in Blue Orange Bank, and at some point I migrate to the interesting side of the finance, so the fintechs, and I have been working with Mintos for almost 4 years during its aggressive growth phase. And after Mintos, I was invited to join a new company as a CEO and to lead the investment platform, Nectaro. Yeah, and I have been doing that for 2 years already. Fun fact, tomorrow is Nectaro's birthday, so 1 year online tomorrow. Yeah, feel free to share your congratulations in your social media. But what is Nectaro? Nectaro is investment platform built for millennials, for Gen Z, to support their desire for passive income, their desire for less hustle, their desire for financial independence. We obtained and we maintaining a license issued by Latvijas Banka. It is IBF license, investment brokerage firm, which is quite heavy license. I will say it is not far from bank license. There will be a separate story about obtaining the license, but yeah, so we work very closely with Latvijas Banka. Latvijas Banka is our regulator, because Latvijas Banka is now working together, will obtain the FKTK. Also, Nectaro is part of very huge group of companies. Danino is 20 years old group of companies where are including travel products, intertech products, and also financial products. One of the headquarters is in Latvia, but originally the group of companies was created 20 years ago in San Francisco. So Nectaro is one of the youngest company within the group. And also what maybe is also one of these unique points for ourselves, that we were able and very purposely created our team with the people who had already experience in other licensed platforms. So basically gathered from the best platforms, the local platforms that we knew, like one from each platform, and build new platforms with all that we have learned, and with trying not to repeat all the maybe mistakes or challenges that we have seen before in our previous jobs. What exactly platform does? It's a very interesting business model. So platform as platforms usually has two sides. On one side, there are loans issued by lending companies, and those loans are listed on Nectaro. Nectaro has the availability and the purpose to create financial instruments together with NASDAQ. We are giving ISIN number and creating financial instruments, and then we offer those financial instruments for the investors to invest in. The investors are retail customers from Europe, from Latvia, Germany, different countries, and average investment is around 6,000. So it's basically very retailish product, and we offer to that end investor the opportunity to invest in licensed company with double-digit return per year. And that is very unique product, and I have this feeling that we are doing something very interesting. The product itself, asset-backed security, is nothing new. It has been there for 100 years, but it usually was available only for institutional investors, only for huge investors, and we are working towards, as all fintechs, to make the financial services more available for everyone. And this is how this looks on the platform. So there is ISIN, there is country, interest rate, term, and the call for action. So working for 1 year, currently we have funded more than 7 million euros. We have more than 5,000 registered users, most of them 68% coming from Germany. And Latvia is second, our largest market. We have 3 countries and 2 products available. But what was interesting, what I want to maybe share from this journey with building the Nectaro, and maybe what should be accounted when you build a financial institution. The first, and I think one of the most important questions, will be license. So if you're thinking about building anything related to the financials, you should be asking yourself, do I need to have a license? And do I need to have a license in the country that I am now? Where will be my team? Where will be headquarters or office? And do I need a license in the countries when I will be offering my services, or where the customers will be from? This is a very important question, but it's not a question about the efficiency, about the compliance. This is basically law-based request. And if you are performing some of the financial services without license in the places that you are mandatory to have the license, it can be even criminal law applicable. So this is a very serious question to understand before you're open any financial institutions. There are still a lot of things that you can do in finance without the license, but you just need to be aware and need to understand it. If you speak about Bank of Latvia, so they are promoting themselves, and I do agree with that they have been very open for the last few years. They're open to cooperation, they're open to communication. They have this pre-licensing stage, and you can call them, meet them, share your business idea, and they will help you to understand, do you need the license? What license do you have? And they even have this sandbox approach that you can start to work with them towards the license, but they are already allowing you to start doing your business. So Latvia's Bank is very forward going for the last few years. Yes, they haven't been before, but they are now. If you or your partners are considering Latvia as the country for financial institutions, especially maybe, for example, a crypto, that they have special sandbox for that, and feel free to reach out. They're not supporting this presentation anyway. It's just my experience and also what they are sharing. If you think about the license, you also need to understand what maybe was not a surprise, but maybe it was a surprise. So after receiving the license, you're so focused on receiving the licensing. For us, it was 7 months. But usually for license like ours, it is usually even 6 to 12 months. And when the license is received, you have this huge feeling of something great achieved, and you have this feeling that, okay, now we will do the business. Now all the team can relax with the compliance, relax with all the paperwork. Now we will focus on the business. No, maintaining license requests a lot of work, a lot of people involved, a lot of reporting, and that is also something to consider when you're thinking about the licensing, where and why and do you need it. So not only how fast and how costly is to receive the license, but also the maintaining, which in some cases you will be surprised what it includes. It also includes very detailed corporate governance, and again, if you will be regulated by someone, even it maybe not be like central bank in countries, it can be, I don't know, any other institution. For financial institutions, there are often capital requirements, because if you are taking other people, so you're operating with other people money, there can be some capital requirements which you also need to take in consideration. And especially it might affect your availability to attract external funding, because you need to have some money just to lie in your accounts just for safeguards, and that is requested from the regulatory, and so that you also should take in consideration when attracting the funding for a financial institution. Interesting thing about you are like, not you, but me. I have been reading books about how to build the fintechs, how to build the startups, all about the MVP, how it works, how you should build something very simple but working, then gather the feedback and then improve it, and this is how you build a company. So it doesn't really work with financial institutions, especially with the regulated ones, because before you're doing something, before we even start to work with the developers and with the front and with all how our platform will be perceived, we need to write everything down to the details in procedures and submit those procedures with central bank, and bank read the procedures and they add additional questions. They told that, for example, in this process you need to add that and that. In this process you need to add that and that. You need to have alarm system, you need to have that. So basically we ended up, before even building the company, we ended up with 86 procedures on how our company will work without any company, without any app, any homepage, nothing. We have bought the domain, Nectaro EU, and we have 86 documents on how this all will look in like 7 months. And that is crazy. So there is no MVP approach. You cannot like test and improve, because you need, for the licensing and for the regulatory, you need to show that you are completely aware of all the details, how your company will be working before you allow to make the company. And that is huge challenge, especially if you have been raised on the fintech approach and on the MVP approach. The picture probably is not my best, but in that winter where we went through all the licensing process, I went to the Pēteris, and there was, before even everything started on the screen, there was this writing, visam jānotiek lēnām un nepareizi, which basically means that everything should happen slowly and incorrectly. And I sat there and I'm just like, oh, okay, like the universe is trying to tell me something, most likely, and quite obvious what. And yeah, about the deadlines, about the planning. So for the financial institution, because of all the improvements, because of all the corporate governance, the challenge was always with the deadlines and the planning, in my experience. So when I joined the company in like first week, someone introduced me to the beneficial owner of the group, Alex. He was in Riga, and he met me and he asked, so Sigita, nice, you are here to obtain the license to launch a new company. So how fast do you think we can obtain the license? And from what I knew at that point, and I didn't know anything, I told, well, 3 weeks. It took us 7 months. So first of all, it's not really like process fault, it was my fault, so don't promise anything in your first 90 days when working. But also from what I'm hearing in the market, Indexo Bank, all other platforms, everything that is regulated usually gets delayed. I don't try to say that don't plan or add like half a year for everything that you plan. Still plan the North Star, still plan the big higher goals, but be aware and don't put a lot of money on that things will happen in time. For example, one thing that we agreed something, we had discussion and we agreed on something, Bank, and we went there and forward and back, and they were working through nights. We have discussions like late evenings, like 11 evening, we changed the emails and we agreed. So they said, yes, it's working, we're happy, we're working. It's like, okay, then I'm doing that tomorrow. No. We agreed. Now we need to go to the committee. Committee will be next week. To have your case in the committee, you need to submit it like 2 days ago. And for submission, we need board decision and we need the application form filled in to have that. So yeah, so we lost 2 weeks. And again, that was the thing I didn't consider. I think that if all parties agree, we move forward. But no, it is more complicated than that. Also, yeah, of course, from building the financial institution, a lot of will be taken by the technological infrastructure. We build everything ourselves, and we have already rebuilt everything ourselves for a second time. And in building everything, what also learned the hard way, to be very cautious and very think through every compromise that you are making. Because sometimes you have these situations like, hey, this is too hard to implement. We can cut this implementation time like for 3 days. You will have your feature tomorrow. And then somewhere in the future, we will add what it is missing. And you say, yes, it takes your time to make this decision like 3 minutes. And what I know now, you will definitely remember that moment, definitely will remember that moment. You will remember that moment for hours, that you will be fixing, that you will be missing that feature. So be very aware of every compromise that you are making from the beginning plan for the platform or project itself, for the regulatory perspectives, and not to lose your vision, especially if you're getting back to this MVP thing, and that everything that you change, it is very hard to do. Also, when building the system, build the system that is capable of creating and supporting you with the reports. For financial institutions, even if you are regulated or not, the reporting will be something that you are spending a lot of time, I guarantee you. And transparency, also system should be very transparent and trackable to understand who and what did when. And also about the transparency, if we speak about the team and lessons from the team, so transparency, I would say, is the transparency and trust within the team is one of the main goals and is super important because the team and colleagues should be able to tell each other and the team lead and the leader that they have made mistake, because every mistake that is not managed properly will show you bigger issues in the future. So this is super crucial for every financial institution, for every business, but especially for financial institutions. You cannot hide anything. You cannot delete any row in the Excel, because every time it will play you in the future. Also, what we have agreed, taking into account our small team and our license and our process, that we are, well, I am not protecting team from anything, from any bad news, from any risks that occurs, from any fears from the future. We are sharing everything. We are working as a team, and because there is this view that you as a leader, you're protecting your team for them to be able to create and work in this super green grass and shiny skies and things like that. We are working as a team, and if anything occurs which can cause us any problems, it is shared immediately, and everyone should know about that, and everything should be involved in that. And the hardest part maybe for me, which is very important, is the discipline. So again, maybe farther from startup, relaxed environment, we still have all of those things, but what is related to the work, you should implement the culture of discipline. And if we speak about high level of professionals, there is only one way how you can do it, in my opinion. It is by leading by example. So everything what you do for more than 2 times, it is already culture. If you are late for meeting 2-3 times, it's already culture. So everything can be late for the meeting. If you want for everyone to be on the time, in my opinion, I cannot say for them, please be at 9 and I will arrive, then we will start. If I want team to be on time, then I should be on time every time. And that applies to all the situations. So leading by example, because in my opinion, is the only way how you can lead, especially high-performing teams. And the second is culture of discipline. When if something is promised, if something is agreed, it should be delivered. And if you fail more than 2 times, this is the culture. This is the new culture now. And overall, it might seem that building financial institution is hard. It is. It is. But then if you are doing it, you should have, my suggestion to you, you should build something great, something very interesting, to be able after a very hectic and long day to go to the dinners, to bar and meet your friends' friends, and he or she or they are asking what you do. And you are happy at that moment, you forgot all the things that happened during the day, and you are happy and you start to smile because you are building something very interesting, you are working on something very interesting, and I think that you mandatory should have this feeling, otherwise it's not worth it. And that's all for me, and there is Nectaro and Nectaro Telegram chat. Thanks.
Do we have any questions? Yes, please.
Thanks for the presentation. I have a question regarding this licensing process. And all the 86 procedures. Did you handle it all in-house, or you hired some experts, consultant that did it for you, or at least consulted and helped them?
Yeah, we did hire it. We have 2 of them. One which were more expensive and more to complex things as a prospectus, because we needed to create prospectus. Prospectus is different 86-page long documents and every investment opportunity. And we have also other consultants that were working mostly with KYC documents. So yes, 2 of them.
And was it worth it? Was it worth it, or after all this procedure you would consider to learn by doing by yourself?
It was worth it, but because the amount is huge. So for example, if you hire legal office, they have this few people working on your case. So there are maybe juniors who are doing the writing. Then there are some seniors who are doing reviewing and improving the documents. So there are a bunch of people working on your case. It could be done in-house, but then I need to hire like 2-3 lawyers for that.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, we have one more.
Thank you for your presentation. 2 questions. First, why you chose this country? Latvia and Germany, it's totally different country. Why? And the second question about how you promote your solution, because I know it's hard for financial solution, especially B2C solution.
So we are licensed in Latvia because that is the right thing. We have headquarters here. I am here. The whole team is here. So there was not a lot of arguments, a lot of discussions where we are receiving the license. We are here. Why Germany? Because somehow historically Germans really like to invest in Latvian platforms. 2 steps back. There is P2P market in Europe. There is the large alternative investment market in Europe where people can invest in crowdfunding and also in platforms, P2P platforms like ours. And Latvia has more than 50 market share from whole Europe. And in Latvia, there are very strong this business environment for platforms. There are few Mintos, for in general, being the largest in Europe. So people from Germany have been naturally investing in Mintos and other platforms for years. And they just heard about Nectaro, so new kid on the block, we will explore, and they naturally are coming to us even without any additional efforts. How we are doing our marketing and targeting? So we work a lot with bloggers. So the investment culture for crypto and also for P2P is very community-based. So basically, there are communities that are communicating between themselves. Where did you invest? What are the rates? What is happening? So you need to get closer to those communities. Usually, they are financial bloggers, influencers. That is our marketing strategy. And also for platforms like ours, refer a friend works good. So people referring the platform. It didn't at the beginning, but it's starting now as we are not gathering, but we are having already this trust from the investors.
Okay, great. We have, yes, one more.
Okay, continuing previous question. At the beginning, you said a couple of words about why platform was built and for whom it was built. But what is your unique selling proposition in comparison to competitors, and why you are better than Mintos or Twino, if there is something like that?
Yeah. What we are selling, so we are already built after all the market stabilization. So we have very friendly and user experience-based platform, and that is something that we also hear from our investors. We have this group that makes us more trustworthy, and we also, especially for the first year, are higher on the higher end of the interest rate proposition. So for the average investor, if they ask why they invest in Nectaro for the first year, most likely it will be user experience or higher interest rates. If we speak about the investors and this competitiveness, currently it is quite a red ocean, especially from the Latvia. But I think that investors just can benefit from that a lot, because from every competition, the end user is benefiting because they can choose the best suit for them. Investors are spoiled because they are like, if the button is not on the left side but on the right side, they will leave this platform. It's not working for them. So we are fighting, not like going extra mile. In these circumstances, enough to go extra step, and you already can obtain your investor. So it's all about friendliness, usability, also the interest rate. But yeah, investors can currently shift between the platforms, and they are just picking what is right for them for different perspectives.
All right, great. I think we have time for one more. Anyone? All right. Then huge thanks. Let's give a round of applause. Yes. Thank you very much. We're gonna have yes, Jan is coming.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming, by the way. So since we wrapped up our first talk and now it's a coffee break, as it's stated, maybe it would be great for all of us to go on a short excursion through our office, and so we can show you what we are actually doing, like custom testing approaches, hardware, a bit of office itself. But my approach suggestion would be to split into groups, because we are quite a lot. And the best case scenario would be that one person, either me or my colleague, can take up to 10 people. So the question is, who wants to go? If that's everyone, we can somehow split. Okay, so everyone.
Yeah. Just, yes, come next to Yanis. He will form some groups, and Then we have around 20 minutes of coffee break. It's okay to stay if you don't want to go. So you can chat, network, and do stuff. If you want to see the office, Yanis is the guy.
Another tip, so my colleagues, please raise hands. So you can see the guys and girls who can take other groups. I'm the one. You can see 3 my colleagues there. So feel free to go to them as well. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, all fine. All right. Is everyone here? Guys, girls, you ready for the second talk? Yeah, there is still front row available. We need someone for the good picture because we are recording, and if the table is empty, it looks bad. So some volunteers, please stand here. Anyone? All right. Okay, cool. I will remember that. All right, so we have a second talk today. Please welcome our second speaker.
Hello, for this. First, yeah.
All right. All good? Okay. One more time, please, a round of applause for Pēteris.
So yeah, first things first, I want to thank you for coming here to our not Ventspils, Rigas TestDevLab office, and also for those people joining the stream who are watching. My name is Pēteris Nikolovskis. I've been working as a software developer for TestDevLab for about 4 years, I would say. And today, I'll kind of give like a presentation or speech about AI as a kind of like a backbone of the modern enterprises. So AI, or artificial intelligence, it's not kind of like just a trend. It's like fundamentally shaping how businesses can work, right? And like how they can impact it, work efficiently, more, I would say, work more agilely, if that's a word, right? And more precisely, like even according to like recent studies, like AI implementation like has increased workplace productivity by, well, I would say up to 40%. And I am one of those 40%. Maybe, you know, how could I say, the app called ChatGPT, right? Most likely everyone will know, right? I use it, I wouldn't say daily, but, you know, close to it. Having, for example, if I have some developing problems, right? I can just input the actual problem and it will give me a couple of solutions I could check out. Like I don't have to look for them myself. I can just easily ask it and it can give me some solutions I could try at least. So what actually is, well, artificial intelligence? We can kind of like think of it in this way. It's a kind of like a human brain, like in a machine, right? So basically, we're trying to kind of like recreate the sense of understanding the language, right? The vision part, recognize patterns, right? But all of that in a machine, which then we can kind of like use with data or like to solve tasks. So the kind of like core functions of AI and business and kind of like its driving force, right? There are many kind of like different ways of the AI. First one I would say is data analysis, right? So AI can process vast amounts of data quickly, identifying trends and like insights from like, for example, let's take 100 sheets of Excel, right? A normal human will have to take, you know, I don't know, hours, maybe even days to look through them, right? And maybe pinpoint, hey, this isn't quite accurate, right? But having the AI model just go over it would take, I don't know, a minute, maybe, and it went over all of the sheets. And if there's a problem, it would kind of like pop up, hey, check out this one. This might be of, let's say, a worrying item, right? Next one would be automation of repetitive tasks, like, for example, scheduling. We can have automated calls which schedule the user, the user, right, or the client. We can automate, for example, tests and so on. So basically freeing up human resources for like more strategic activities. That's like basically kind of like above HR, like, you know, they can focus more on actually like planning things more. Next up would be predictive analysis, which is basically having a trained model with data which is from the history. For example, let's take a stock, right? So we can trade stocks, buy them, sell them, right? But if we gather the data of, let's say, a specific stock, what was its trend or price, right? We could technically try and predict what would be the future prices, but it doesn't always work, as I have tried and I have lost some money on that. So do be careful on that. And next up would be also customer service. So AI-driven chatbots, we most likely have talked to it when we're writing to tech. Hey, my internet's not working, and it gives us back a link. Hey, why don't you check out the favorite asked questions or whatever, right? Or actual virtual assistants. These actually, I have tested them out, and they have become quite advanced in the way it kind of like makes me feel that I'm actually talking to a human, right? But it's a assistant, right? Recently, or semi-recently, OpenAI kind of allowed the usage of their own voice model, right? And I started talking to it. I asked, hey, maybe speak in Latvian, right? Started speaking Latvian. I said to him, give a more Latvian accent, like pronounce certain words like with a deeper and things like that, right? And to my surprise, it actually did the pronunciation just perfectly on that. So I would say it's become real advanced on especially like on the language and assistant part. Next up would be natural language processing. So basically allows the machine to understand, to interpret and respond to a human language. That's basically ChatGPT. So let's say I asked it, hey, what was the weather in Riga last week, right? It understands like I want the weather data, right? It kind of like interprets like weather data in Riga last week, and then it will give me back an answer. Yeah, weather in Riga last week was this and this and this, right? So it understands like the kind of context of the whole text I'm asking to it. And of course, we have computer vision, which basically allows the machine or the model to interpret kind of like visual information. Let's say we had a picture of, this whole event, right? It could kind of like answer, hey, yeah, we have a couple of tables right here. They have white cloth, and we have people standing next to the table. Some people are sitting, right? It can understand and process what's inside that image, right? Or video or whatever. So some AI applications, like across a couple of industries. One would be in healthcare, for example, in diagnostics. I've seen a company called AIDoc or iDoc, which is mostly used for radiologists, right? To kind of like detect tumors or growths inside the scan actual. So they have made a kind of like an algorithm which analyzes the image, right? And then it identifies the actual anomalies inside it. And if it detects something, of course, then it will, how could I say it? It will then tell it to the doctor, hey, you need to check this out. This looks really suspicious to me. Next up would be personalized medicine, which is basically a model trained on, let's say, your personal medical history, right? What pills you have taken, which doctors you have gone to, right? Maybe you have some problems, and it can theoretically also kind of give you not a treatment plan, like a plan to improve it. But with this, as in all things medical, right? Just don't do it by yourself. Always go to the doctor, right? And tell them what they're doing, right? What you want to do, and trust them more than actual AI. It's the same as, if I recall, the site is WebMD, where you input your symptoms and it's always really bad, but actuality is just a cold. And of course, we have the kind of like administrative workflow automation, which can take care of like schedulings, billings, and like patient data management and things like that. So if we have the virtual assistant on a call, right, they want to schedule an appointment, right, we can kind of like automate that to put them actually in the system. Next up would be in the finance section. there's a couple here as well. One would be called fraud detection. So basically, we can kind of like input data and train it on to detect fraudulent kind of like activities or transactions in real time, right? So, oh, it fell, no? What? Oh, just, yeah. So kind of like to detect the like unusual patterns which might happen in trading. Like, hey, this kind of like action seems interesting, right? Or because we cannot follow all the transactions which happen in real time because there's hundreds and thousands of them happening like each second. Next one would be, as I mentioned previously with my downfall, algorithmic trading, which is basically taking the past market data and trying to analyze what was the stock then, what happened, and a company which actually kind of like provides these services called Betterment. And of course, another point, the customer service automation, the chatbots, but that kind of like applies to, I would say, every industry. Like everyone can need it and be like it can be useful for you because it like provides 24/7 kind of like support assistance. When you make a call, right, it will answer you. It won't like wait for the next working day. Next up would be kind of like the retail industry. We can have a model trained for inventory management. In a way, it can kind of like forecast the demand or and adjust your inventory levels, right? So it can see, hey, okay, Christmas is coming up. We have this stock low. We have this stock high. We need to kind of like increase this, put this leftover summer clothing right on sale to get rid of them. So we can kind of like average things out and like we're not in overstock, right, of that particular product or in actual stockouts. Like we don't have any products. Like it can try and guide us in the direction to have everything at every time at normal amounts, and not to have an item, more of an item, right? As well as personalized marketing. Technically, we have already been on the influence of it. Like if we go to, let's say, TVNet or YouTube, they will show us ads, right, based on our kind of like searches and where we're going and things like that. But Amazon also has created their own, especially for the Amazon site. Right, the model takes the user's kind of like browsing history, what they put in the cart, what they visit, what they wish list, things like that, and create their own kind of like personalized marketing model, which then recommends products and offers for the user. We have also made kind of like an in-house study ourselves. So at one point we realized we have so many documents, right, about our company, just like this document is for the travel. This document is for what to do in a fire, right? This document is for vacations, things like that. So we need to kind of get our own, I would say, tool for it. So we had made like the internal project-based chat, like we call it Llama internally. So with this, we can create two types of projects. First one is a chat type, right? Where we can upload documents for certain specific users, right? So certain specific colleagues can get access to this chat, and which looks technically like this. This is our kind of like basic chat for all of our documents which we have in TestDevLab, right? I asked, hey, what's our Riga's office address? And it answered the address of Riga's office in Vingota Street 1, right? That's like the one type of project we can have. Another type is we can upload our own fine-tuned models to it. We created a fine-tuned model of image video quality kind of like assessment, right, model. We trained it on our data. We took thousands of images and had them graded, right? We gave the model on how to actually grade, what counts as what, which grades that. And in the end, we have a report kind of like this. We have the image description of the given image. Then we have the quality score, which is based on our kind of like score sheet, which we give, which is what. And then we have a quality assessment. In the quality assessment, it says the image is well composed with a clear and engaging subject, but minor improvements could be made in terms of lighting, or background details, things like that. So it can give us adjustments. So the benefits of kind of like using AI, well, firstly, it would be increased efficiency and productivity, right? So they are fast. They can go through a lot of data, even like, as I mentioned, the sheets example, right? 100 Excel sheets, right? We will take hours or days to go through them, but it can go in, let's say, minutes, right? Depends on how big or how strong your hardware is, right? And also, yeah, pinpoint things in if they're necessary. And with productivity, that also efficiency, product kind of go hand in hand together, right? For being efficient and more productive with doing more kind of more of the process, right? Next thing would be enhanced decision making. With this, I have to say AI is more knowledgeable than me. It has a lot of data. Let's take ChatGPT again as an example. It has, if I do believe, all the data until 2022 for the 3.5 model. So all the data it can have, you can access, you can view it manually, like through Wikipedia, things like that, but already it has been trained on the data. So it's more knowledgeable practically about everything. And in so, it can sometimes make better decisions than you, right? Because it can be more knowledgeable in that certain topic or that certain decision you have to make. And also, we can have the benefit of cost reduction, right? Making it go through a model or an AI makes it to not have human error if it's been trained correctly, right? It will go through, do the task, and pinpoint out the results. Like if let's say the sheets example again, right? It will go through it. If it's something needs pinpointed, it will pinpoint it, and that's it, right? If a human goes through it, you can miss something. You can maybe not pinpoint things which should be pinpointed, right? So it kind of reduces the errors. So we have also some challenges and considerations. One would be kind of the data privacy on that. There's like kind of like two ways to actually train it. Either you do it in-house, so in your company you train your own model, but that costs a lot. And I do mean a lot to get the necessary hardware to train them efficiently. You can train them, but it will take a long time to actually train them. And if you do need to retrain the model, that's just more time and more time wasted in a way. Another one would be to actually use a company, I wouldn't say a specific, like, for example, OpenAI has their own fine-tuning models. I do believe Amazon also has given those services that you can train on those servers. Of course, there will be a cost, right? But the model will get trained faster, right? At the downcast of cost. And also, it might seem that handing over like sensitive information you want to train on for OpenAI or Amazon, right? It might seem kind of like iffy, you know, to just give your information out. But that's why you have to kind of give it, or well, trust them, I would say, to companies that have, I wouldn't say proved, like have shown that they can do this, firstly, and that they are secure, right? With OpenAI, as an example, right? If you give your data, let's say a document, right, with sensitive information straight to the chat, right? You just copy paste your sensitive information in the chat box. That data will be used for training the model, so it will be technically accessible to everyone. But if you use their like APIs, so if through the playgrounds to fine-tune the models, they will not use that data for their own training. So that's kind of like you have to kind of separate and do research on the actual, you know, how to do the process for it. And another one would be the ethical implications or bias in AI algorithms. With this, I mean that you have to train the model kind of similarly. Let's say you have two data points, right? Those amount of data have to be semi-similar, right? If we have more of data 1 and less of data 2, right, it will be more biased to lean for data 1. right? It will give more answers to that. Let's say we have 100 data items. We will use 20 data items for validation later on, right? Let's say we train 20 of those items to recognize a cat on an image, and what was the left? 60? No, wait. Yeah, 60 items no, wait, 60. Yeah, 60 items to train to view a dog, right? If I give it a cat image, it will be more biased to the way to give me back the dog response. So we kind of have to, I wouldn't say merge, like put them equally. So, and you may know, if you were at the start of kind of like this AI revolution, ChatGPT, when it first came out, it was really biased for one political kind of like side, right? It didn't take the other political views, or well, technically it shouldn't, right? It was more biased for that one political side because it had more data on it. So people were getting responses which kind of like weren't true in a way, or more favored the other side without being actually kind of like true. So yeah, in conclusion, there's kind of like a lot of core functions which can be used for like the modern backbone, as I said, the assistants, right? The data analysis, like to go through a lot of items, right? Natural language processing, which we have made in-house, which allows us to quickly search through documents, right? Get, let's say, what do I do in case of a fire, right? What is our CEO's phone number in case if I need an emergency, right? And not only that, as well as we saw in the healthcare section, right? The actual doctors are using like tools to help them identify kind of like this spot may be, you know, a growth, right? Check this out. Like it kind of like helps them work more efficiently. So, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks again. Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was, yes. Yeah.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. What model do you use for your Llama tool?
Currently, we're using GPT-4o. It's technically we have known that the kind of like generation is best for it. We did try before with GPT-3.5 Turbo and other different models, but like GPT-4o is firstly cost efficient, like pretty decently. It's like $0.0002 per 1,000 tokens, so it gets the job done. And the answers are more kind of like favorable for a work environment, since they don't get too creative, right? We have tried to turn down like the creativeness temperature, right? But GPT-4o is better.
What's the number of these company-specific documents that you mentioned you have fed into it?
At the top of my head, I don't know.
Have you experienced any mistakes in the response?
No. Since we switched over from GPT-3.5 to GPT-4o, I haven't noticed any like problems with it. No incorrect answers. We even do kind of like these validation test runs where a certain engineer, he has like a spreadsheet of questions, right, which he will manually go over and check the answers, right, to see if it's answered correctly. Like, so we will still need people who validate it. So, and I would say like developers will still have a job 10, 15 years in the future. That's
Hopefully you have some testers in-house as well.
of course. We call it TestDevLab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here, Rick.
I think
Front.
Thank you, Pēteris. A question from an AI skepticist who's using AI on a daily basis, okay? So you have such an audacious name of your presentations. You're referring to the usage in the enterprises, okay? And I was listening to your presentation very carefully, and you mentioned a bunch of use cases which, if to follow, are usually supplementary to the main operations for the business, right? It's more about like just, you know, adding some additional layer of the value. So just, okay, you need the fraud prevention software if you have a lot of operations. If your product is already, you know,
running right, we
running
need to
very
check it.
well.
Like
Yes,
as I said,
exactly. And then my question is there any chance for AI someday to do and to bring this value instead of real business? Not being just a supplementary function for just like, you know, minimizing risk or going through like thousands of spreadsheets, but actually to bring value to the end customer, not just being existing.
you mean basically AI taking over the company and running it?
Maybe invent a new business model.
I mean,
Maybe
I wouldn't say so. I would say it's like a tool to make us, or we'll create it like more efficient to work better.
okay.
So
So it's more about the operation in your.
yeah, in
It's
my
more about the
opinion, yeah,
operational
yeah,
efficiency rather than this willingness to pay or value
Yeah,
brought by the company. Okay, thank you.
Do we have any questions? Yes, we have one more.
I'm curious if you could share whether in your product development process you use AI.
As I mentioned in the start, I do use it mostly for debugging purposes, right? Because I do not want to go through it, check everything. I mostly take the what's wrong with it, the error part of it, and I put it there, and it gives me kind of like solutions, which I could check on, right? So, but still here and there, I may use, hey, could you help me out with this task, right? It kind of like improves. I wouldn't say. Well, it makes me more efficient, right? It improves me to write it faster, because by the end of the day, either I look through Stack Overflow, finding the same code, or I ask, let's say, ChatGPT for the same code, right? One makes me look longer, one gives me a straight kind of like an answer for a specific thing.
All right.
Do you use like for code writing also?
I mean, sometimes, as I said,
Also
sometimes.
have a loud voice.
Loud voice. I mean, I do, as I said, sometimes, yeah, it was either, as I said, as an example, either I have to go through Stack Overflow to get a certain code.
That's like
Oh, you mean like
error
fully?
checking. Yeah, like do you give ChatGPT?
I mean,
to write
I don't
part of the
really,
code?
I don't really just like for it to fully write code. I don't, but like
Some parts.
some parts, yes, here and there, yeah. But
Do you
still,
find that ChatGPT is doing it more optimal or than you can do it? Does it
it would.
better than you?
It
Are you
still
better than
needs-
ChatGPT?
Oh God, no! As it's more knowledgeable, but it still needs kind of like human intervention to actually take the code generated and put it inside my program and actually make it work, right? It's not like, hey, copy paste it in and it'll work. I need to still do my own kind of like changes to it, right, to actually make it work. No, sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just for example, that when I was young and I was doing programming too, so we were comparing the code length of you know C++. There is such language still alive.
It is
C++
much-
and I don't know, for example, Pascal, for example. So we were comparing how big code is generated. So do you see your code is shorter and more optimal than ChatGPT do?
I would say sometimes I go even longer than ChatGPT because technically it's trained to be like on a lot of data. Like it kind of already knows what's optimal, right? It most likely has all of Stack Overflow in it, right? And all of the comments included. So it kind of like already has, I would guess, classified in a way, which is more optimal, which is not more optimal. And it also kind of depends on the question, how you ask it and how you formulate it, because you can ask question like multiple kind of ways, right? And it'll give you either a longer code or a smaller code, but it's the end results are still the same.
Okay, let's have one more question here.
Yeah.
Do you have any examples of any interesting and valuable examples of data analysis with AI? because all the examples which I have met before, normal analytic can see everything in the stage of preparing of data.
So you mean like, for example, if I have a data analysis, kind of like an analysis on something, and like it shows you, or do I not understand correctly?
I mean analysis of big data
Mm-hmm.
and something interesting conclusions from data using AI.
I mean, personally, I do not think I could give you an example. You can give one.
Actually, speaking of AI, me myself, I'm marketing guy here. But speaking of AI, so how we are using it. So when it comes to big data, especially for marketing, how I mean it. So we at TestDevLab, we are tracking lots of different data points, starting from the internal links clicked to from where the person came, where he went, like what was the journey throughout the website, till the fact that we are tracking and trying to figure out was this his first session, or maybe his colleague gave the data that, hey, there is such a company as TestDevLab, you should check them out and contact them. Like we're trying to understand that. And we are collecting like thousands and thousands of data points. And with the help of AI, we are trying to understand, and actually there is already some success. We're trying to understand like the detailed path where this user first, like what was this first, how to call it, first impression, like where was this origin of this first impression, and what was the path till the person converted and came through the mailbox as a lead. And we're trying to grasp that. But the problem is it's really complicated process, especially when it comes to cookies. Like if the person is not like, the person is not allowing cookies, the problem begins. Yes and no. So when it comes to GDPR and cookies, you can't track user unless he approves, or she, or whatever user approves cookies. You can track a few things like the click itself. You can register amount of clicks, but you can't get specific data like IP address, click IDs, the path, like all sorts of data. In order to track that, you have to like get this approval from the user that the user applies, like the user agrees to cookies. Like it's a bit tricky, but again, when it comes, I would say it's a big data. Like we have thousands and thousands of data points, and we are just looking at those points and data and trying to figure out, okay, what next? And AI helps.
That's an answer. As we are product meetup, the most important question, are you selling any of this stuff to your clients? Do you have any trained models, or you build something inside that you sell to the clients?
Yes, since you're the director of R&D, you know better than me.
Well, in terms of products, well, first of all, hi, I'm Alvaro, Director of Automation and Research and Development. And in terms of products, we are trying to release the tool that Pēteris has mentioned previously, which is Lalama. We want to make this public for other people to also share projects, being able to interact with each other, and also create these assistants that help companies to retrieve most of the information that is useful for the employees, not only the stakeholders. And also, since we work a lot with audio video companies and media companies, having these tools for computer vision, also natural language processing, help them to understand what is the quality and how can they deliver better products. So that will be also released into the product. And yeah, we are really working on that. He's also involved in another initiative, which is Automate the Automation, which means that we are aiming to create full automation workflows with AI, meaning that we will write a prompt, please go to this web page and validate these fields, and it will write all the code behind and validate that automatically. So all of that is powered by these large language models, and just the thing is that we need to fine-tune the models in order to understand better what we want to do, and later on just package into a nice product. So yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for all the guys from TestDevLab for answering all the questions. You can grab Pēteris or any of the guys, I assume, on our break time. So I have a small present for you, Pēteris, to make your nights in Riga less depressing. Yes. So thanks again. Yep. All right. Please follow us on social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, and stuff. We try to do it every second month. So yeah, approximately this is the timeline when you're gonna see us again, hopefully. Yes, and if you have a feedback, you disliked something or you liked something or you want to replace something, please let us know. We will try to make it better. And that's it. Thanks everyone. We will have a chatting happening here, so don't run out. Please speak to people. This is what it's about. It's not about just clapping and cheering for people. It's about community. So thanks everyone. Let's clap to each other. You're great. Thanks.